What's up guys, and welcome back to my Chainsaw Man chapter review series. We're picking right back up where we left off last week with chapter 111. I wish I could consider this a lucky number, but unfortunately we're going to be talking about one of the most tragic chapters of part 2 so far. But first, class is once again in session. I've linked a poll at the top of the description where you guys can vote on what grade you think this chapter of Chainsaw Man should get, A, B, C, D, or F. And at the beginning of next week's chapter review video, I'm going to go over the overall chapter GPA of this chapter, as well as some of your guys' comments down below on this video. Speaking of which, let's quickly look at some of your guys' thoughts on chapter 110. So about 270 people voted in the last chapter review poll. If that was one of you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And after crunching the numbers, we get a chapter GPA of 3.74. Another fantastic scoring for Chainsaw Man Part 2. There's not much else to say about that. It's clear you guys love it. I love it. So let's just move on to some of your guys' comments. So my boy Salad here says, I've been super intrigued by the parallels between Denji and Asa since the beginning of part 2. I'm curious how this is going to come to a head. Also, was Yoshida just chilling the entire time the school attack was going on? I know he's got a cover to keep up, but damn, dude. And reading that comment by Salad was actually a huge what the fuck moment for me. Because if Mans was at the school the entire time and doing nothing to save the students, that'd be pretty messed up. And that also goes to show that we really don't know Yoshida all that well yet. We've only ever seen him in the International Assassins arc when he was just a bodyguard for Denji, and the few chapters we've seen him in part 2 so far, where he seems somewhat morally ambiguous. That's why I would say keep a little bit of caution in your brain. Yoshida is not Aki. Maybe he might have some parallels, maybe not, we don't know. He might not even become Denji's friend. Only time will tell. The next chapter I wanted to take a look at was Gary the Larry's comment from last week. What if Yoru keeps losing because the bad guys, in the eyes of society, always lost the big wars in history everyone remembers? Like, we know that basically all events in World War II don't exist due to Chainsaw Man. So if the fears that make Yoru powerful is weakened by the common conception that in the war, the bad guys always lose due to the lack of any massive wars that we know of, like World War II, though in the Cold War exists... Wait, what? Then it could ruin this theory. So I thought that was a really cool theory by Gary the Larry, because if the devils are powered by society's fears, that would mean all of the strong ones are only strong from, you know, the majority's perspective. So I already know that Denji ate nuclear weapons, and apparently he ate the Holocaust as well. So from this, that would make war seem a lot less powerful because we don't have any of the scary memories from war. That's actually a fantastic theory from Gary the Larry. So I really wanted to highlight that, so kudos to you, brother. Thank you guys so much for your comments this week. Remember to leave your own comments down below in the comments on this video, and maybe we'll talk about it in next week's chapter review. And while you're down in the description checking out that voting link, or maybe leaving a comment on this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, especially if you like Chainsaw Man related content. I make a metric shit ton of it, really. I also make content about other anime, manga, Japan related stuff, but right now, we're in Chainsaw Man season. Also, I'm thinking about making a Discord server for my channel, you know, for important updates or spreading memes or just talking to you guys and shit like that. So if you're interested in that, let me know down in the comments below. Alright, I've shilled enough of myself upon you guys. Let's just talk about chapter 111 now. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, guys. Today we have an incredibly depressing chapter of Chainsaw Man, so, let's just talk about it. So we're gonna dive right in, starting with the conversation between Yuko and Asa at the beginning of the chapter. We got a lot of really heavy stuff this chapter, but if we break it down to its bare bones, essentially this conversation was a violent criminal giving her last goodbyes to her only friend. In this conversation, the truth comes out as to why Yuko befriended Asa in the first place, and as to why she made a contract with the Justice Devil. I'm gonna drop a huge Breaking Bad spoiler in like 5 seconds, so if you haven't watched Breaking Bad yet, I would just say maybe skip ahead 10 or 15 seconds. It reminded me of the scene where Walt said his final goodbye to Skylar and admitted that he always enjoyed being a drug kingpin because he was good at it and it made him feel alive. That was just a little connection that I made in my head. In the end, Yuko just wanted to be loved by everyone in the same way everyone loved Chainsaw Man. She is a friendless, poor girl with no family, and she had no other way of fitting in. Which hurts even more thinking back to the chapter before when that one girl was saying that everyone always found Yuko annoying anyway. And now in a fucked up, ironic twist, Yuko is going to end up being hated by the entire school. You know, I know we all feel bad for Yuko in this chapter, and rightfully so, but, you know, at the point where you go full trench coat, I feel like my sympathies can only go so far. That said, in these chapter reviews, I always like to add my own cringy experiences from high school to show how I can relate to Chainsaw Man Part 2, and I'm certain a lot of you guys can relate to Chainsaw Man Part 2 as well. But I want to be clear right now, what I'm about to say in no way has anything to do with all the awful shit Yuko did, okay? I really want this disclaimer to reach you guys to the depths of your very soul. What I'm about to say, just know, has nothing to do with that. Alrighty. In some ways, I somewhat relate to Yuko. When I was in middle school and high school, I wanted to be popular and well-liked so bad that I often said and did stupid shit for attention. We're all friends here, I think it's okay to admit this. Honestly, saying I did cringy shit in high school is way less embarrassing than trying to explain to people I'm a YouTuber. But this makes Yuko's character to me, and I'm assuming a lot of you guys, a little more tragic. Because everyone wants to be popular, everyone wants to have a lot of friends, everyone wants to be loved, but Yuko took this entirely too far, and in the end, you know, she kind of got what's coming to her. Yuko ended up learning the oldest lesson in the book: fuck around, find out. Just reiterating, the only part of Yuko I empathize with at all is her being desperate for attention. That's it. That's it. So this scene ends in a bittersweet way that comes full circle with Asa offering Yuko her shoes like Yuko did to her back in chapter 100. But before this happened, Yuko dropped a pretty huge bomb that I'm worried a lot of people are overlooking right now. The Justice Devil is still alive and at Asa and Denji's school. So the Justice Devil can make contact with other students or faculty and can cause trouble here and there, and we just don't know yet. I wouldn't be surprised if the big bad villain for this first arc of Chainsaw Man Part 2 is the Justice Devil. So I guess we could probably start referring to this first arc as the Justice Devil arc. Whether Asa hears about what happened to Yuko at the end of this chapter or not, Asa's strong sense of justice, ironic I know, will probably lead her to trying to hunt the Justice Devil down herself. So Yuko and Asa laugh about Asa offering Yuko her shoes like the same way they did in chapter 100, and it's a bittersweet farewell. Yuko says she'll return Asa's shoes someday, and Asa says you better. But we all know how this ends. Yuko's literally been a walking death flag for the past 13 chapters. I'm honestly surprised she made it this far. But before Yuko's brutal murder, we get a scene of Asa's bully, Asa, Denji, and Yuko all laying down, everyone sleeping except for Asa. But if we zoom in on this one scene of Denji sleeping, we see some little dog snoots right here. If you look right here, what is that we see? I'm literally like, that was me when I saw it. Oh, wait. I was doing the Wojak pointing face. We see Nayuta. Nayuta makes her first canonical Chainsaw Man Part 2 appearance. Nayuta's been sidelined so bad she might as well be the sophomore they let play with the varsity team in high school football. There was one other possible Nayuta appearance in this chapter that was very highly overlooked, but I'm going to want to come circle back to that in about a minute. The huge thing I really wanted to talk about in this chapter was that it might not have actually been Denji that killed Yuko. Obviously, it was set up to look like Denji killed Yuko, but to me and a lot of other people on Twitter right now, it seemed kind of sus. I think the best theory I've seen so far was by a friend of mine on Twitter, Chainsaw Man Unleashed. Just a thought, but what if this Chainsaw Man is just a new devil entity born from the perception Denji has created as a superhero? One that actually eats people, cats, destroys things, among all the other rumors people have created about him. To me, this makes a hell of a lot of sense, and that'd be a crazy direction for Fujimoto to head in. Also, everyone, please follow Chainsaw Man Unleashed on Twitter. His @ is Denji Unleashed. He makes some of the best Chainsaw Man deep dive threads I have ever seen. But I have one possible counter argument to this, and that's Nayuta's possible contribution to hunting down Yuko. In the scene right before Yuko's killed, she jumps through a flock of birds and says something like, I wish I could tell what the birds are thinking too. Sure, this could just be Yuko lamenting about how she wants to talk to birds, but if you remember from part 1, one of the Control Devil's powers is the ability to take over birds and use them as surveillance. So it's possible Nayuta is helping Denji track and kill devils by using rats or birds as surveillance and whatnot. Or if this theory from Unleashed is correct, what if Nayuta is being manipulated into helping this imposter Denji because she's too naive to know the differences, who is the real Denji and who's not? The only other direction I could see this going is Denji actually did kill Yuko, and then maybe the Asa and Denji theory starts coming to fruition, but we have this dramatic irony that, you know, Denji killed her only friend. Or if we go down the dating timeline and there is the imposter Denji, and Asa thinks that the imposter Denji is the real Denji, we might as well put on tinfoil hats if we're going to keep going down this rabbit hole. Knowing Fujimoto, these are all probably just red herrings, and the real boogeyman is probably just something else entirely. But this chapter left a lot of little breadcrumb trails for theory crafting, and I think that's what we're going to see a lot of this upcoming week. That's about all for today's chapter review video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in next week's video.
Wow, 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 wow.